Okay, so it's time for the next batch of DC comics I've been seeing, which is Catwoman, Wonder Woman, and Batwoman. Now, let's start with Catwoman. There's been a lot of fuss about this, along with Red Hood and the Outlaws, about their portrayal of women. And I have to say, I can see the point, especially with Starfire. They've taken a lovely, sweet, endearing character and turned her into just a wank fantasy. It really isn't cool, DC. I mean, seriously, pick up the pace with women. And it's also evident here in Catwoman. Though I don't feel as strongly about Catwoman. The reason being, she is meant to be a sexual character. She has always been a seductress and shapely and slinky. So it doesn't bother me as much, but I can see where people are coming from with the whole, they just show close-up of her butt and breasts all the time. Which is a problem that's epidemic in comics. Though I would say particularly DC Comics, Marvel is nowhere near as bad. The other thing I didn't really get hepped up about is the sex scene at the end. I didn't feel as that out of place. Again, I can see how some people call it gratuitous, and it can be, but overall it fits in with both Catwoman and Batman's character and their sort of very complex relationship, with Batman not wanting to be attracted to Catwoman and the nature of him being a character all about loyalty and rules, whereas she's a very free character about breaking rules, so it's that sort of dynamic going on. So I can see it being in the story. Did it need to be that blatant? No. Did it deduct from the story seeing that? No. So yeah, I actually enjoyed the story. I felt it kept with Catwoman's character. Very coy, very exciting. Started off with a bang and kept going. It didn't bore me and it didn't feel so decompressed. One of the big problems with all these new DC ones, and comics in general as well, is how decompressed the story is. You can go for issue after issue with nothing really happening. In this they went straight from, boom, her apartment's been destroyed. Boom, she's got a new job. Boom, she gets into a fight during the job. She escapes. Boom, she has an encounter with Batman. And it sums it up perfectly. So yeah, I feel they got her character right. I feel they got the story tone right, even with gratuitous sex scenes. So yeah, I would read it 3.5 out of 5. Next up is Wonder Woman. It didn't wow me. Wonder Woman is a major part of DC, and she's pretty much the lead female character. And it's just sad because she always takes a backstage to Batman and Superman. I know they call them a trinity, but let's face it, she's only there for really special events. Most of the time it is Batman and Superman. Everyone always talks about who would win Batman and Superman. Why does no one talk about who would win Wonder Woman and Superman? You know what I'd like to see in a next big crossover event? Wonder Woman kicking Superman's ass. Seriously, she's trained to beat people stronger than her. She's got magic, which is Superman's weakness. And she's just a kick-ass fighter. She has the best elements of both Batman and Superman rolled into one. You know, so it just annoys me that she's an underplayed character. Most of all, writers don't know what to do with her. Her story should be simple. She is an emissary to try and bring peace and love to the world. I know it sounds mushy and girly. I mean, it's Wonder Woman, of course it's girly. But it works. I mean, Gail Simone, she did that beautifully. She is progeny of an entire warrior culture. and she's the emissary for that, representing it in the modern world. What is so hard for writers to get about that? I mean, it just didn't feel like Wonder Woman in this. She was ordering a scared little girl around. She just didn't seem to have that much compassion, which is a major plot point. She has compassion. I mean, part of the problem, long-term problem of Wonder Woman, is she has no long-term definable enemies. Whereas with Batman and Superman, they have these huge rogue galleries. Wonder Woman focuses on reforming her enemies, making them into good people. And so she's never really established a long-term rogues gallery, which I think is part of her problem. Yeah, apart from that, the new direction with the Greek gods is good. I like the fact that they're going back to the original Greek gods from mythology as bickering, power-hungry, nasty, self-serving people, which works quite well. And of course you've got an element of Apollo narrating it, and just the really good mythical look of the feel with the centaurs being born from horses, and the mysterious woman with the big cape made out of peacock feathers. Fantastic. So it didn't wow me, but I'm going to stick with it and see where it goes because I am a Wonder Woman fan. I stuck through it with the whole gritty 90s jacket phase which we just had, which at the end of it wasn't too bad once they got their act together, and I think a new writer. And of course Batwoman #1. Now this comic is everything a female comic or a female character should be. She's driven, she's interesting, they make her kick ass, and above all, even though she's a derivative character, she's from the Batman family, she's not subservient to Batman. She's treated every bit his equal, both by the villains and by Batman himself. I was very impressed with the conversation with the I'm not sure if he's a villain yet, but a skeleton in a suit that was talking. Just talking about Batwoman, and you can tell she has the same level of respect and mystery as Batman. And they did such a good job with her. They don't objectify her. She is kept a decent character, and I'm glad it took as long as it did because they stayed true and done a decent story with her. She is my favourite female character. I don't care if she originally started as a derivative of the Bat family. She is her own character, and she's brilliant. And the artwork in this book is beautiful. Admittedly, the page layouts, much like Batwoman Elegy, are quite hard to follow sometimes just because of the way they're laid out into larger pictures. But I loved it. Please pick up this book. Support this book. It doesn't demean women. It's not objectifying. It's got a brilliant story, and their character stands on her own. She doesn't need any more popular characters popping in. Just pick up this book, please. Pick up this book. This book deserves support. Okay, that's me, Mouse. Over and out.